and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Cookie B. All right, as I normally do, it is 4:59, and I'm giving you guys time to tune in so we can get this conversation started. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a wonderful weekend. I'll share it with you in just a moment as I'm shuffling the cards. As you know, we always like to start with something positive as usual. And I do apologize. I forgot to turn my settings off. There we go. So that doesn't interrupt me. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Nine. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Cookie B. Now, it's 5:00. So as you know, we're going to start with something positive as usual. I found a quote that on Facebook that I'm going to read to you because it kind of ties in with our topic today. It is Tuesday, December 16th. All right, y'all ready? So now we're going to pull a card. And this one is sticking out to me. This one says, help. So the message for today with help is ask for help. Receiving is an act of generosity. So it's okay to ask for help. Receiving is an act of generosity. All right. So that was one of our positive messages for today. As you know, I love to wear a statement shirt. My statement shirt for today is growth. It's the process of ignoring people who deserve to be cussed out. Today's statement shirt is growth. It says it's a noun. It's the process of ignoring people who deserve to be cussed out. Yeah, they do. All right. Hey, D-Lo, welcome to the chat. Welcome to Conversations with Cookie B. Now, also, as I found something on the internet, it says once you become a certain age, it's your responsibility to unlearn behaviors that hinder your growth as a person. So I found that this kind of tied in to my t-shirt today, which is growth. And then as soon as I believe in divine. As soon as I logged into Facebook, a thing came up by Jeff Moore that says, once you become a certain age, it's your responsibility to unlearn behaviors that hinder your growth as a person. Hey, Blue says he needs help. Well, you know what? Receiving is an act of generosity. So if you need help or you say you help, that's good. That's good because the person you're helping, sometimes we block our blessing. When you say, oh, girl, I'm going to help you with, no, that's okay. Don't block that other person's blessing. If it's been put on their heart or their mind to help you, then let them help. Today's drink, I just looked over it. I was about to take a sip. We have Martin Lely's apple juice and Crown. Now, I didn't have any apple Crown, so I made my own apple Crown. I got some apple juice, and this is pure apple juice, and the regular Crown, and I done pulled myself, my daughter made me a sarsaparilla. And I must say, it tastes damn good. All right, y'all. I hope you had a great weekend. I do want to let you know that Thursday, I thank you guys for tuning in. I had so much fun because, I love music. Of course, when you're just playing samples, it amazes me how technology works because even with me playing a sample of a song, even giving the disclosure, hey, I'm not trying to do anything. Guess what? They all, that's what kicks you guys off because it was saying that I was using music without permission and all that stuff. And I was not. It was just saying, hey, this is a cut. We love this song and just happened to be playing in the background. All right. D-Lo says it's hard to be a cheerful giver if no one wants to receive. Yeah. And it's hard that people are so prideful that they won't receive help. especially when they didn't ask. But if you clearly see that you have a need, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And there's nothing wrong, excuse me, with letting someone help you. Nana says, yeah, come and get your cocktail with Kanai. Lord have mercy. Come have a cocktail with Kanai while you listening to and engaging in conversations with Cookie B. All right. So I thank you guys for tuning in on Thursday. Like I said, I had fun with the songs. I am composing a list still because you guys had some great songs. And even though I noticed that a lot of the songs were from back in the day, I'm sure it's some new music that we all like. And like I told you, I learned that song, Meet Me at the Door while it's still open, because your clothes is, she done folded up your clothes for you. So there are some songs that kind of have an adult touch to them without all the ratchetness and all that stuff. But don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a ratchet song. None at all. We're not here to judge. We just may say that's not my preference. So that's okay. All right, you guys. Now, I had the pleasure of this weekend, being invited to a, charcuterie party. Now, I didn't post any pictures because I want to get permission first, but it was a charcuterie party. Now, when I tell you, when I walked in the home and they have this counter space in the middle and all you saw was tomahawk, ham, cornbread, chicken wings, cheese. I mean, it was a charcuterie party and it was beautiful. Now you had to bring, your own charcuterie to contribute to the party. Now I made my homemade, butter cookies, Chicago Public School butter cookies. And then I had went and bought some sugar cookies that shaped like wreaths and bells. So I used those, and my daughter came up as I was trying to, design. She said, Mom, make it look like a wreath. So she really helped me out with that. And we made it look, I'm going to show you, Kelly. I'm going to post those pictures. I made it look like a wreath. And then in the center, I had some Oreo thins, some macaroons, some Milano strawberry, but whatever. My board was nice. It was really nice. I thought it was nice. But even when I got there, there was a macaroon tree and they took the different color macaroons and I have to show, I'm going to post it, but like I said, I'm going to get permission because this is those folks' house. But when I tell you we ate good, we ate good. And it's a great idea. And that's why I'm bringing it up, because it was a great idea to have a charcuterie party. And I've seen it on TikTok where people come in and make charcuterie boards and they make Snickers and s'mores and, Wingstop, different wings. I mean, it was really nice. I was glad and blessed to be invited to their home and to be a part of it. But also, there was a little twist to it because this couple, also, the woman went upstairs, and when she came back downstairs, I said, well, it looked like she got on a wedding dress. And I smiled to myself, but he played it off and he was thanking everybody for coming. And, this was their annual holiday party, charcuterie party, because she does this every year. And I think this was their third year doing it. But this was also special because he played like he was about to propose to her. And then he said, psych, you guys, we got married last weekend. So that was beautiful. So that's why she had changed the dress, and then they put the rings on, and she had people from out of town that had came. Her parents and his parents, I think, were there the weekend before or something like that. That's when they got married. But then this time, since they were already having the party, it was great to have family and friends there. And I think it was a beautiful, quote unquote, reception. I thought so. So I will be posting those pictures for those of you that follow me. But when I tell you the videotape, there was even a baked potato charcuterie where she had the baked potatoes with the chili and the onions and the sour cream and the cheese. It was so nice. So for Christmas, if you're thinking about having a holiday party, make it a charcuterie party. Make it a charcuterie party. Hey, Royanne, it's two of my friends, one of my friends from the cigar bar. Come to find out, they got married last week, and this past weekend when they had their annual Christmas charcuterie party, it kind of was like a reception because they announced that they had got married the week before and blah, blah, blah. But it was so beautiful. I must say, of course, I had my little outfit on, it was really a nice time and their home is beautiful. So shout out to them for a wonderful party. That was part of my weekend. It was wonderful, beautiful. The bartender, I had to tell her, I had to drink water because I was on the other side of town and she was making me some Cadillac margaritas that just had me lit. I was just sitting back smoking my cigar and I said, Lord, I don't want to go take this bodysuit off, but I had to. I just said, let me go on home. But the party ended nice, but it was a great, great, great party. After that, I just want to tell you that once my weekend ended Sunday, I think I spent all day Sunday just chillaxing. I didn't want to go out the house. I didn't go to my favorite hole in the wall. I just chilled because I still was basking in all the energy that I felt at that gathering. It was just so nice. And it's a shame that when holidays come around, people get depressed and stuff like that. But it was really, really a nice gathering. I come back on Monday, and I do my normal. As most of you guys know, Monday through Friday, I'm on a prayer call at 6:00 in the morning. Come to find out, one of my good girlfriends, one of my stepping friends, and some of you guys may know her. Her mom passed away. And then, I was a little upset at first because, and when I said, yeah, I was upset, she kind of hung up the phone, but I called her back and was like, why did you hang up? And she's like, I really didn't want you to be mad at me because it wasn't intentional. She didn't want to ruin my weekend, quote unquote, by calling me to tell me that her mother had passed away. Now, I must say that I got in my feelings for a moment because I was like, if we're good friends, we've been praying on the phone with each other for over 10 years. That's not interrupting my weekend by telling me that your mom passed away. Now, backstory, her mom, sharp mind, oh my gosh, retired from the California school system. Great all around person. Memory as sharp as a tack. I remember him and blah, blah. Would tell you details. And she was 80 something. She was 80 something years old. And that's what got me about her, even talking to her and her demeanor, really a great woman. I must say that I was a little taken aback because our prayer for her had always been because she was bent over. And what it brings to me is the biblical story of the woman with the issue of blood. She has been in this pain for years. And one day, I want to say years ago, when I went out there, I said, we're going to make this prayer. We're going to call God out on his business. And you're going to stand up 2 inches. She recently had surgery to correct, the issues in her back. And my prayer partner wanted to say to me, remember you said she going to stand up 2 inches. And the curvature and everything that Fix gave her back 2 inches on her height. I was really excited. And she came home having a good time, ready, anxious to drive, walking around because she was feeling back to herself. Now, mind you, she was growing old gracefully, beautiful woman. And then I want to say 2 weeks later for her to pass. So I'm really taken aback with that. And I try to pay attention to the signals of my body. Now, my eye had been jumping for a good while. And I usually try not to pour into wives' tales. And I said, my left eye's jumping. That means I'm going to hear some news that I don't want to hear. The first was one of my girlfriend's mother, her husband, which is her stepfather. She sent me a text saying, guess what? My stepfather passed away. And it took me a minute because I said, wait a minute, not Pawpaw. And she texted me back and said, yeah. So I told Kanai And I was taken aback by that. So that was number one. Number two, to come back to my prayer call on Monday morning to find out that my prayer partner's mother has passed. That's two. Most of you guys don't know or may know that, I'm estranged from my siblings because ever since my mom passed, they haven't been the same. Now, I know death affects different people in different ways, and I haven't been able to reach my father in about a month or so because every time I call, it says the number you're calling is unable to take calls right now. Why that is, I don't know. But I brought up the topic today is, and I can only speak on situations that I know of, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, nor am I trying to isolate any one particular race. But why is it that black folks act a fool at a funeral? Why is it that people change when somebody dies? Now, I am going to give a little bit of backstory because when my mom passed away in 2013 of pancreatic cancer, I received text messages from my sibling, one of my siblings saying, well, can I have mom's car? My response instantly was, well, did you ask your father? Because he's still alive. Help me understand that. I had another sibling who we don't share the same mother, but we do share the same father, come to me and say, well, Margaret said that I could have the Cadillac that's in the garage. She did. Okay. It amazed me, the text messages that I received from my dad's daughter, advising me that the God that she worships wouldn't have stole my father from Chicago and brought him out here to Las Vegas. She's never going to talk to me again. Yada, yada, yada. My response, then stop texting me. You can stop calling me. Your number is now blocked. So I blocked her from my phone. I blocked my other siblings from my phone because I believe, and I believe this at that time without knowing, to keep my own peace and sanity. I'm already suffering from the loss of my mother. And you guys are texting me over material things. Not realizing, or maybe they did, that my father's still alive. Now, mind you, my father may not be in his right mind because, as you guys know, most of my story, that's okay, Kelly. Thank you. My dad fell 30 feet to the concrete in September 4th, 2004. My dad fell 30 feet to the concrete. And when he fell 30 feet to the concrete, I heard that, and I think I told you guys this story before, that small, still voice, or the universe talking to you, letting you know, watch what I do. My father had not a broken bone in his body, but his mind has scrambled, and it's been scrambled since 2004. He has no recollection that there's been a black president. No, none of that at all. I say all that to say that when my mom died, when her body left this earth and her spirit forever will live in me and my daughter, why do people act a certain way when it comes to death? Now, I know that certain of us, a lot of us, especially now, I will tell anybody, knock on wood, get your house in order. Because we've watched too many TikToks, videos, and whenever we go to a funeral, somebody there acts a fool. Why? I don't know. I believe death, as the Bible put it, is, your body's just tired. It don't last forever, but your spirit and your soul lives forever. I'm trying to understand why I'm hearing so many stories about folks acting a fool when somebody dies, especially when it's a parent. Now, another story that people have gracefully shared with me, a mother dies. You were living at that home with the mother, but you weren't doing a goddamn thing for the mother. Hey, Piggy Boo, welcome in. That you were living with. Now, how is it that you can live with your mother and not help her, especially when she's older? I will never understand, but that's just my opinion. You don't pay damn bill in the house while you're living with your mother. And mind you, you're well over 55 years old. And yet, when your mother passes away and you realize that you have a sister and it's just you and her, and you have nieces and nephews and things of that nature, you decide to sneak in and out the house. Why? I believe that my girlfriend Kat, she's not on here right now, I don't think, but she brought a song up to me, and I always think of it when somebody is trying to hide. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. D-Lo says, I think it's easier to be angry with you than to do the work to get themselves together. I truly believe that. Yes, Mark, over 55, let's say she over 60, and you and your sibling of age, you're the one that's living with your mother, and your older sibling has to come over there and say, why haven't you washed the dishes? Why haven't you cleaned the house? Why does that even have to happen? Now our mother is gone. The neighbors call and say, hey, we see that there's an ambulance at your home. They call me as well as my sibling. My sibling responds and says, yeah, I know. How do you not have any type of feeling for your mother? Now, this is an example that I'm giving because this person so diligently shared this story with me. But now you still got a key and you sneaking and taking stuff out the house. Why? Now, I apologize in advance because I get angry thinking about that. Because I lived what I thought in a perfect world. So if we both know that our mother has passed, shouldn't this be a time to get together, to honor our mother's memory, to do things that she would have wanted us to do? So I think. I know that I can't speak for that person. And I am glad that that person who shared the story with me was angry, was venting, and was sharing their truth. Why is it that at death, we act a damn fool? Now, I'm sure this probably happens in other denominations, other black folks, white folks. I'm sure it happens. But I can only speak for what I've learned and what I've seen with my own eyes. Why is it that death brings out the worst in all of us? Why? Now, we all have the same mantras, oh, life is precious and do it today because you may not be here tomorrow and all of that. And yet, when something happens, especially death, we act a motherfucking fool. Never could understand it. When my grandmother passed, and that is the reason why holidays just really don't seem the same for me, especially with Thanksgiving, because I was at home, at my home, you know, because I had my own house then. My mother's mom had moved from Louisiana. We moved her from Louisiana. She was living with my mom, my parents, my mom's mom. Hey, Pam. So, you know, I go over there. Hey, Miss Carrie. She don't know who I am or whatever. But I remember and cherish every member of shelling peas with her. I remember shucking pecans. I remember the smoke to keep the mosquitoes off. I remember her telling me that I had to go out to the outhouse to use the bathroom. Now, mind you, we city people. We ain't using the bathroom outside, but we did down south. I remember going down south on Thanksgiving where all of the family members, meaning my mom, my dad, my uncle, his wife, we all sat around, and when they sat around, they shot that my grandmother had that hog that had been curing for 6 months. So she fed him nothing but corn and all that stuff because that was going to be Thanksgiving dinner. So of course, when we all went down south, we went down there a couple of days before because school wasn't out. And I had to be about 13, 14 years old. Okay. They shoot the hog. That was my first time having pure bacon. My grandmother got the smokehouse ready because I'm really seeing how they make pork chops and chitlins and everything. Fond memories. When my grandmother passed, I don't recall my mother's siblings acting any type of way except for my uncle. Now, he didn't act a certain way. He just said, well, why are we doing this? And why are we doing that? Now, mind you, may he rest in peace. He was the sibling that was kind of like, you know, he served in the wars, came back, had PTSD, stuff like that. And, you know, not fluent, but he drank and stuff like that. But he wound up working for my father before my father passed because my mom found him because he had been out on the streets, didn't know how to get his disability, didn't know how to do nothing. So my mom helped him get his disability, his VA benefits and all that stuff and took him in. So he wound up living in our basement, but he was one of my father's workers when my father was a contractor. But he was the one saying, well, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? But my mom sat down and explained to him, you know, me and your older brother, we the one that's been paying our mother's bills. You were out in the streets. He understood because my mom had to find him again because he was out in the streets, no money, drinking, all that stuff. I thank him for his service, but everything else, when he got himself together, my mom said, this is not how we're supposed to live. Not you especially. Hey, Patrick. It amazed me. So when I see people, especially when my siblings, I guess, acted a fool at the death of my mother, especially when she's not your mother, I found that a little disheartening because we all know, most of those who knew my mother, salt of the earth, great woman. And you calling me, asking me about her car that my father bought that's in his name and he's still alive. You're calling me because I am the oldest by marriage. And I must say that as we were growing up, my parents had always said, if anything happened to us, everything goes to Cookie. Now, mind you, when they say that, they were saying that because I knew what to do, meaning that I knew where money was. I knew where insurance was. I knew what to do. I think they took that a totally different way. And that's fine. Very fine. Because when my mom passed, and this is just my personal testimony, when my mom passed, you know, my dad said, I don't know why I keep dreaming because my wife is dead, but she keeps talking to me. And I said, what? He said, yeah, my wife is dead, but she keeps talking to me. And she said, I need to come live with you. So I closed up the house, packed the things that he wanted in his Cadillac truck that he wanted to bring with him to Vegas. And I drove from Chicago to Las Vegas and brought my father to live with me by his wishes, not mine. In doing that, I went and got him a cell phone and said, here's your phone. Here's their telephone numbers. They can call you directly because they don't need any contact with me because you're their father. Talk to them. Not knowing that my father, whose mind is not right, of course, is telling them different things about the business in my house. Because when they send me a check from my mom's insurance and I'm letting him know this amount was deducted for the funeral, so the funeral's paid for, but this belongs to you. So of course he's saying, hey, I got such and such and such and such, telling his children. Hence became the, I want to go home. I want to go home. Now my father, as you guys know, growing up, my father had 7 buildings and 3 houses. I was advising him, hey, I'm paying the mortgage on this one, the taxes on this one, and blah, blah, blah. But that's what I'm using your money for. They steadily telling him she's stealing from you. Now, I've been out in Vegas since 2005. I have no desire, nor have I ever had a desire to steal from my parents, especially my father. So for the accusations to come, for all of that to happen, I had to say, divine, universe, whatever, I need your help because my daughter's 13. She goes to school every day. When she come home, we had a routine. When you come in the house, you make grandpa a sandwich until I get off at 5 o'clock, and then I'll come home and cook dinner. Routine. It got to a point where he would accuse her. She didn't make me no sandwich. So I had to let her know. Remember, his mind forgets. So I would go in the room that I had set up for him downstairs in my 4-bedroom house. I said, hey, where does plate come from? He said, that young lady in there made me a sandwich. I said, and who is she? That's my granddaughter, Kanai. So Kanai did make you a sandwich. So it's dealing with older parents, and I get it. I get it. But there came a time where he caused havoc in my household. Kanai was at school. I was at home. He boiled an egg, almost burnt my house down because he said he wanted a boiled egg. He loved Vienna sausages. I showed him where everything was, his shelf. Go in here and get you a sausage and crackers. You sit here and wait until we come home, but never without a meal. Never without a meal. I say all that to say it got to a point where he caused havoc in my household. So when he kept telling me, based on what they're feeding him on phone calls, that he wanted to go home. Okay. Now even his brother, who's now deceased, was calling. Your father say he don't want to live there. Okay. I heard that small, still voice tell me, next time he asks, let him go. Let him go. Nana says, death brings out different kind of greed in people. You are 100% correct. It's not funny, but it sounds hilarious. Oh, it was. It was. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to let you go. It's amazing how things work because the spirit said, let him go. Yeah, he wanted a boiled egg. He said, I want a boiled egg. But he let the water boil out And it's luckily that my daughter was getting out of school. And when she came home, she like, Grandpa, do you know? Now he back in the room. He done forgot the egg was boiling. So of course I had to get the boiled egg smell out my house and all that stuff. But the next time, to make a long story short, the next time that he asked to go home, I was given permission by the universe, higher power, whatever you call it, let him go. So February 14th, 2014, I put him on a plane in Southwest and advised him that he needs a wheelchair, blah, 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 and sent him on back to Chicago. Now, mind you, his brother was there waiting for him saying, yeah, he can come live with me. It's amazing that he couldn't go back and live at the house that he had bought because all of a sudden there were no pipes and no electricity and all that stuff. Let that simmer. So y'all couldn't get electricity or nothing on in his name at his house that he used to live in. Because that sounds like a control issue to me. But I digress. They're not here to defend themselves. Let me finish telling my story. So he went to live with my uncle, who's now deceased. And I had to tell my uncle, you can't keep alcohol around him. My dad is a functioning alcoholic. He could drink all night. But if he got to go fix a roof tomorrow, he's up at 6 o'clock and he gone. Functioning alcoholic. He complained. Yeah, I came home and your daddy done drank up all this and drank up all that. Well, did I not tell you that you need to put your alcohol up? They ain't want to listen to me. Not at all. The only thing I let my father drink while he was with me was beer. And mind you, I had a fridge in my garage that I would ration it out to him and didn't even let him know where the other beer was at because he could drink a 24 pack in 2 days. No. So when all of this happened, as I sent him back, I was awakened 2 weeks later by the Holy Spirit saying, get up and wash your hands. So I washed my hands of the whole situation because that's a part of growing. Growing, meaning that I was sick because I was so used to taking care of my parents, knowing that they goddamn well took care of me. But to know that his future was so very uncertain going back to Chicago. And that's where he's been since 2/14/14. So when I make a phone call just to call and check on my daddy, the phone's not working. Why? If you're taking care of your parent, why is the phone not working? Now, I also have a nephew who came to visit, which is my dad's oldest son. And he had a couple of questions for me. I found out a little bit of information because I said, they came to live with you. Now, granted, I don't think that my nephew hesitated to go back and tell my dad's son anything that I said. And asked me, do I give a fuck? No. Everything I spoke was my truth. And quite frankly, I wanted him to know. Because they're wondering, how come Cookie don't talk to us no more? Why do I need to? None of you have brought any ounce of joy in my life. I grew up just fine without you. I feel for my daughter every now and then because, you know, she can't say, ooh, my auntie or ooh, my... No. I even have some of my younger, my younger brother, his children, well, one of his children, reached out to me saying that he wanted some Jordans and how much they cost. I said, well, you know what? Send me what size you wear and I'll send them to you. No, you could just send me the money. Apple don't fall too far from the tree. So mind you, he didn't get no Jordans from me because I already knew and I trusted my gut and my discernment. So I say all this to say, why is it that at death, people act a fool? Why? Now, mind you, I have just gotten to the point of grieving for my mother. I miss her dearly. I remember being at her funeral and I remember her speaking to me as they lowered her casket into the ground. And she told me, you tell everyone I said thank you. That's the type of person that my mother was. And even as I dropped to my knees, I looked around at everybody and said, she said, thank you. Thank you. And I said that to everyone. I remember my girlfriend Tammy said, bitch, I thought you was about to jump in the casket. I said it was so overwhelming when I felt her presence. And she said, tell everybody, thank you. And I said that to everybody. Thank you for being here. I knew that my mom was going to be all right. Do I hate that she died of pancreatic cancer? Of course. These older people, as they get older, they don't go to the doctor. I was mad as hell because I'm here in Vegas living my life. Very, very much living my life. And even with living my life, I was saying, and getting back to, oh, my mom eventually is going to come out here and see that I live here. She's going to be so proud of me, and it wasn't going to be the fact that she's moving here because I got to take care of her. My mother was able-bodied. I wanted both of them to come and say, you raised me and look at what I've done. I work a good job, just to show your parents that you didn't let them down. Mark says, I always thought of you as being a great person. Thank you, Mark. But it was amazing that she never got to see my house. My dad did get to see my house and he remembered of a favor that I asked him because as I was moving into this house that I'm in right now, I was short. I think I was short like $5,000. And I said, Dad, I have this amount of money, but I need $5,000 more to, close the deal on my house. He said, when you come home for Thanksgiving, because that was the agreement that me and my parents had. No, the month that I left would be the month that I come back. And every year in August, I would always go back to Chicago. That was a given. Right before Kanai go to school, every year in August, I went back to Chicago. Now, it took a lot for me because I was thinking like, how can I get a loan? I've saved up, $10,000, I need some more, blah, 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 because I wanted to buy, I was getting this house on a short sale. Great, love the house I live in now. And my dad remembered because when I got there, he pulled me to the side and said, don't tell your mama, but then you asked me for some money to buy a house. I'm going to give it to you. And I said, Dad, I'll pay you back. He went in a shoebox that he had and counted out the money for me and told me to go put it in the bank. I said, well, Dad, I have to because I got to get a money order. And back then it was Washington Mutual. It wasn't Chase. So it was Washington Mutual. I went to Washington Mutual and deposited it. And then in my savings account and said, hold it because when I got back, I was about to close on my house. And it was so funny because that was Thanksgiving and I closed on when I finally found my house. The couple of deals fell through, but I still had the money that he gave me and plus my deposit and my down payment. But the house that I live in right now is the one he helped me buy. And he came in here and he said, That was his words when he first got to my house. And I think I posted that picture on Facebook where he pull up and I got his Cadillac truck and he's standing in front of the truck because he's now living with me. And he said, this the house I helped you buy. So it amazes me how his mind came and went, even though it was scrambled from the accident he had. It amazes me. Did the money smell like corn chips? No, it did not. My dad doesn't like corn chips. But money smelled like, I want to say it smelled like nails because he had it in a box where he had his nail gun and something else. And I kept going, why does it smell? But you know, of course, y'all know my dad was a contractor. So it just amazed me that he remembered that part. Now, I must say that I don't want to say it's my greatest fear, but I know that my dad is getting older. I know that eventually he's going to pass away because God puts you on this earth for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And my father has lived. Now, I can honestly say there have been times when I said to myself and to the universe, God, why you take my mama, but you didn't take my dad? Now, remember, my dad fell 30 feet to the concrete. My mom passed of pancreatic cancer. There have been so many times that I know that there's a reason why my father is still here. There's a reason why we all are still here. But it amazes me that I think about when he passes, and I know it's going to happen. What's really going to happen? Now, most of you who know me know I'm not a funeral person. I'm not a death person. When someone dies, I instantly think, oh my gosh, they get to see the streets paved with gold. They get to see the streets paved with gold. They get to see you hear so many stories of people having out of body experiences when they die and they say their life flashes before them and all that stuff. I believe in so many different things. And I'm not saying that as confusion. I'm saying that because I take a bit of everything. I know that my dad came back 3 times. And I think I've told you guys this story. Them siblings gonna be in distress without his money. You're right. I believe that. Now, I can't condemn any of that. But I truly do believe that the love of money is the root of all evil. And I say all this to say also, my father lived a good life. I believe that. I believe he lived a good life. I believe that, Lord, you kept him here for a reason. His purpose is not done. Now, I don't know if that's to show his people that he living with a lesson. I don't know, but it's not for me to find out. I can honestly say that I did receive a phone call a couple of months ago with a message saying, I'm looking for a Cassandra or Cassandra Baptiste. This is your sister. Can you please give me a phone call, and left the number. Mind you, I ain't called her. I don't have any reason to call you because your last words, and not that I'm hanging on that, were the God that I worship wouldn't have stole my father. And you don't ever have to call me again. Okay. So I took you at your word. There's nothing that you have ever done for me because I didn't meet you until I was 17, because this is my dad's daughter. I didn't meet you till I was 17 years old. My father had no shame in letting us know that we had siblings. So I have an older brother. So I'm 57. So I have a brother that's 8 years older than me. So he's 65. Then my dad had a daughter, and I'm 57, 58, 59, 60, 61. She's 61 because they're 4 years apart. So 65. No. He 8 years older than me. So 61 plus 4. Yeah. So he's 65. She's 61. I'm 57. And then I have a brother under me excuse me, that's a year younger than me. And we're the two that's by marriage. Now, I probably wouldn't have an issue if at the point of death, the brother under me had questions or was trying to figure out anything. It's the two that have nothing to do with my mother that bothered me. They're always telling me that, they were always saying, you know, that's my mother. She was never your mother. She was not even really your stepmother because my father never married either one of your mothers. I never understood that. Mark says, I always thought it was just two of you. Well, Mark, let me tell you, it's so many people that think that it's just one of me, that I'm the only child. And I'll tell anybody, I was the only one that mattered to me. Yeah. Like Nana said, it's just because nobody knew. I never talked about my siblings like that because they never added any value to my life at all. There was no reason at all. They don't exist. Like my Nana said, they don't exist in my world because I never pictured my life being like that. You know, I always wanted to have that type of family camaraderie where, you know, hey, you visit, I visit. I always see that. I've seen that all my life where, you know, it's always been some type of camaraderie. But then when the Lord moved me, or universe or whatever, moved my purpose to this side of the world, he moved me away from a lot of that stuff. Tony says, except me. Blue says, I feel you on this. I lost my mom a year and a half ago. Her birthday tomorrow. Miss her every day. And I know she's watching me as I grow. Now, Blue, I thank you for typing that in here because this is the week. And you guys, please forgive me if I get a little teary eyed. This is the week of their birthdays. My father was born December 18th, 1941. My mother's birthday is December 19th. 1944. So I always found it strange, and people say two Sagittariuses found each other. It's just funny because they were like day and night, and it amazes me when because their birthdays are coming up this week. So I think that's why I'm a little emotional, and also why I'm not understanding how these people who share stuff with me about death and their siblings act in a certain way because I can totally relate. Royanne says, when my dad's passed, my brothers and I kept the focus on honoring my dad and my dad's life and not how we were going to come up in his death. You're right. And I kept saying to myself a saying that Kanai's father said to me. You would think that we were raised in different households because I was always trying to handle business. My mother had made statements about the brother under me, like, no, I got to look over him. You know, she coddled him to me. I know when she passed away, he was lost because she was paying the child support that he was owing to keep him out of jail. So now you're forced, in my opinion, to grow the fuck up. She ain't paying your bills no more. She gone. You're sending me text messages saying, can you hurry up and send them the death certificate so I can get my money? That's the type of brother that I had. So it amazes me how this stuff happens. It amazes me how death brings out the worst in a lot of us. Why? When we go to a funeral or something like that, it's a celebration of the life they live. And they gonna keep on living. Keep on living. Tony says, I'm the only child with lots of younger siblings and both sides think that they are siblings. That is correct. It amazes me that there are sometimes I have regrets of having only one child because it has its pros and cons. My daughter does have a biological son, a brother by her father that's older. I know that if something happened, they would look after her. I know that recently, and if you guys haven't, please do this. I have my living will and trust done. I had that done earlier this year because I said to myself, my daughter, even though she is the only child, I want her to not run through anything that I gave her, but I want her to understand the responsibility. I was thinking that when my parent died, that we would come together. You know, I did the obituary. I had my younger brother get mad because his girlfriend, quote unquote, girlfriend, was not listed in the obituary. She ain't your wife, nigga. Why would I list your girlfriend in the obituary? Don't understand that. I digress. It was so many things that I did in getting my mother's funeral together, getting the obituary, writing the obituary, getting some type of service together to say, hey, my girlfriend Adrian sang for free at my mother's funeral to make it honor her. So I bring all this up to say, on this episode of Conversations with Cookie B, death should be the beginning of life. Death should not be a time of turmoil. Death, they lucky the step grandkids were mentioned. It was amazing to me. My daughter knows everything that happened because I was saying to myself, these people are really in their egos. Really in their egos. And I'm still dealing with some stuff, but I've gone to therapy. Believe me, I've let so much stuff go because I'm realizing that I am the only child by my mother, the oldest. And I did exactly what she would have wanted me to do. And that's why they left me in charge. It was those that I can tell you some stories that weren't in the household with us, that weren't getting all that we were getting, that felt like they deserved more. In my heart of hearts, I say to myself, God, revenge is yours. I did all I can do. And when you told me to wipe my hands of the situation, I did. My job is to call and see how my father is, and that's it. Mark says ego or ignorance. Oh no, it was their ego. And they are also ignorant because they're ignorant to the fact that they're thinking that they're doing something and they're not doing anything. It amazes me how, like I said, I got some tidbits of information where you spending up all his money and you still ain't got nothing. That's because you never had nothing. And that's okay. Kelly says, and that's why she was never worried about you. Kelly, you have brought back to what I was thinking full circle. It was so many times that I would say, what about me? And my mother, and Kelly, you know this because you know me. And she said, I ain't got to worry about Cookie because I know she is going to be all right. You're right. You are 100% right. I tended the business to the best of my ability. I had always asked God for forgiveness because when I sent my father back, I said, I can't do this. You didn't bring this into my household for a reason. I did what I could, but you can't control other people. I believe that, as I stated on my shirt today, growth is the process of ignoring people who you know deserve to be cussed out. Y'all, I've grown tremendously. And once you become a certain age, it's your responsibility to unlearn the behaviors that hinder your growth as a person. Oh, Lord, we got some growing to do. As I know that I'm going to constantly hear about death, I hope that you guys handle it differently. It amazes me that my girlfriend, whose mom just passed, has to deal with this. I am looking for a flight as we speak to fly out to be there for her. There for her. I know what it's like when my friends were there for me. To lose your mother is unspeakable. We all know that, as Tupac say, dear mama, is all I can say. Because sometimes I don't even have the words to say it. But death should be honored. On today's episode of Conversations with Cookie B, I had to talk about it. Black folks, get your house in order. And if they don't like it, so what? Do what your parents are supposed to, what they ask you to do. It amazes me how in the death of anybody that you show your ass out. I would never understand that. Never. Regardless of how I'm not a death person, I understand that there is truly life after death, but you leave a legacy. You got children, husband, wife. Do you think that they really want you acting a goddamn fool? For what? And I know you was raised better than that. In all ways, there is truly life after death. I truly believe that. Mark says, as you live in your sincerity, I do. Joanne says, you were there for me. Jojo, you know I'm not a deaf person. But when your mom passed, I said, what you need me to do? Because I understand you have to give more now because you have to be there for your siblings. I understand that. I truly understand that. You said, I am free, Mark. I am truly free because I truly understand that I don't want that chaos. And I'm glad to a certain extent that my daughter won't have to deal with that chaos because she is the only child. Everything is written out. She knows exactly what to do, when not to do it. I wish I'd have had more conversations with my mother to say, what am I supposed to do? What do I need to do? But it's so funny that even in her death, she was still living because she showed me, I need you to get that paperwork on the side of the computer, which listed my dad's illnesses and everything that was wrong with him when he failed. When she told me, look on that shelf on the chiffre, and I found out that I got a half sister by my dad, who's 2 years older than my daughter. My parents knew. And I walk in that truth knowing that they trusted me with a lot. And I never wanted to let them down. And I pray to God that I didn't. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Conversations with Cookie B. I want to thank you guys for letting me vent, for letting me live in my true authenticity. And I want you guys to please get your house in order. Please get your house in order. If you have siblings or aunts or whoever you got, I have people designated in my trust to say, Kanai, if this isn't handled, you go to this person. If this isn't right or you don't understand it, you go to this person. You let them help you so you don't spin up everything, so that you know that you have a life to live beyond me. So you guys, during this holiday season, this week is hard for me because it is my dad's birthday, which is Thursday, the 18th, my mom's birthday, which is the 19th, Friday. And I miss my mom. I hate that my friend who just lost her mom has to go through this. If you have lost a parent, you truly understand that their physical parents of presence of having to want to call to say, Mama, I'm trying to be the same grandparent you were. I'm trying. And I know she's looking down upon me saying, I ain't worried about you, Cookie. I'm truly not worried about you. So on this episode of Conversations with Cookie B, as I close, get your house in order. Death should be the beginning of life all over again, but a new life. The person who has passed for a reason. And only God knows why they took that person from you. Only God knows. But in all that they know, I want you to live your life to the fullest. Thank you, Kelly. She is and will always be proud of me. Thank you. I know that my father's time will come soon. I know that. I can't say that I'll be going to that funeral because I want to remember my father as I do. It's not that I don't want to face my siblings, but it's a part of growth, which is ignoring people who deserve to be cussed the fuck out. And I've grown so much beyond that. And I refuse to let anybody take me out of my element. So I thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Conversations with Cookie B. I know I'm over my time, but I just wanted to have that message out there because we are at this point in our lives where we are caring for our parents. Please make sure their house is in order. Make sure your house is in order. Make sure that you have your house, as I stated, in order because death is all around us. Mark says, I will let you cry on my shoulder, but you're too... Mark, shut up! Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Conversations with Cookie B. I love you guys. I thank you guys for today, but I really wanted to pass that message on because tomorrow is not promised. Live for today. But just in case, when them motherfuckers want to act a fool, go ahead and cuss them out. You got my permission because life is too short. Get it off your chest. Let it go. And I know that y'all gonna be all right too. So I want you guys to tune in to Thursday's episode of Conversations with Cookie B. I thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Remember, I love you and ain't nothing you can do about it. But make sure that you have your house in order. Tony says, I'm always here for the both of you. My moms, I love them dearly. And I love you, cousin. Thank you, cousin Tony. I appreciate that. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in on this episode of Conversations with Cookie B. I love you more, Kelly. And you know I love your mama. Oh my gosh. I love you. Tell Miss Yvonne I said, hey there. I love talking to her and her spirit and her energy. Lord knows. Oh my gosh. Lord knows. Lord knows her. Lord knows. But I just thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of Conversations with Cookie B. Get your house in order. Get your house in order. And those who do choose to act a fool, fuck them. For real. We too old for that. See you guys on Thursday. I love you. See you guys on Thursday. We getting that much. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Yeah, we're going to get into some stuff. See y'all on Thursdays. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you. Talk to you Thursday, 5 p.m. Don't forget, tell a friend and share this. Please make sure you go ahead and share this. Let's talk about it. I know there's a lot on your mind. So come on in, sit down, have a conversation with Cookie B. Talk to you guys on Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Love ya. Good night.